We're back. It's the Horns Up Talkin Texas podcast. Joshua Fisher, Nikki Snacks, Crider Nick. Big game. Baylor. You know, it's so funny. Everyone's like, we just need Kansas to somehow beat Kansas State, and we're in the Big 12, as if we don't have a big game ourselves this weekend.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
You know, it's funny is that when I was on the team, seniors would, not just the seniors, still the guys who were the leaders of the locker room, right? We'd have our team meetings, and then, Coach Strong would talk, and then the players would talk for a little bit. And I remember vividly that there was no team that my team wanted to beat more than Baylor. Like, they got up in front of, it was like Malcolm Brown, Jordan Hicks, like both Malcolm Browns, like Quandre Diggs, like those were like the senior leadership guys. And they stood up and they were like, we hate these guys. Like, I cannot stand Baylor. I'm sick and tired of like losing to them. Because back in the day, like that was like the Art Briles days that they were running all over Texas. And they just could not stand it. So Baylor is always circled on the calendar for all Longhorns. I guarantee you that every single season. And the fact that this is literally the last game of the season, and it's a very meaningful one to us because, if we lose, our chances of winning the Big 12 or getting to the championship are done.
Yeah, I mean, it's toast. I mean, it's so ironic. Everyone's like Kansas State, and like we have to take care of business first. Like this team barely lost to TCU last weekend. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they
probably shouldn't have lost to them.
Oh no, totally. I mean, TCU squeaked by. Like I remember I was at the bar and someone was like, "Yeah, like I had TCU in a money line parlay, and it was like." it was close, but they took care of business. I'm like, they did not take care of business. Taking care of business is what we did against Kansas last week when Bijan. What a novel idea that is, right? Give the ball to your best player and let him run wild.
Yeah, right. It's unheard of.
I mean, we almost ran for 1,000 yards.
Crazy.
We ran for like half a rack out there.
There's that picture of the sideline where it's the running backs on the bench, and you got like Jonathan Brooks sitting on top of the bench, and then the rest of the running backs sitting around him. And that's going to be one of those iconic pictures that you see all the time of like the Wisconsin backfield, the Georgia backfield, where it was like Todd Gurley, Sony Michel, and like the Wisconsin one where it was like Monty Ball and Melvin Gordon and Jonathan Taylor. Like that's the type of backfield right now that we have with Bijan, Roshan, Keelan, Jonathan Brooks, even Blue. Who knows what happens to him? Obviously, we've got some guys coming in, Cedric Baxter, but that's kind of the identity that Texas needs to bring on is whatever. Maybe we're not DBU anymore. Maybe we're not, wide receiver U, but RBU, I could take RBU.
Yeah, of course. I mean, first of all, we are huge Roshan Johnson fans, and it's becoming not apparent, but it's being, it's a thought that's festering in my mind is like, is Jonathan Brooks the second best running back on our team? And we just really haven't been toting him the ball at all for some reason.
Possibly. I guarantee you every single running back in our room who has a scholarship at least can start at probably half of the Division I programs in the nation.
I mean, Jonathan Brooks ran wild against Kansas, and in the limited action he's played is run the ball pretty well. I'm curious. Well, we might be seeing a lot of him, dude, because let me be the bearer of bad news. While this is ultimately I hope to be a very positive podcast, this could be the last time we see Bijan as a Longhorn this weekend.
It could be. If we win this game and Kansas State loses like we want them to, then I think we'll see him in the Big 12 championship game.
Of course,
I don't think he's touching the field on the bowl game. There's no point.
No, if he's going
unless you're staying. And I don't think that he's made up his mind completely yet because he says he's got to talk to his family, he's got to talk to his coaches, he's got to talk to God most importantly. And we'll see what his decision is. At the end of the day, I think Quan had mentioned that he can foresee Bijan staying, like a 60-40 chance, 40% leaning towards Texas. But if you're going to the NFL, there's no reason. Roshan Johnson as well got banged up last week, walking around in a boot, so he probably won't play this game. and he's already declared himself to play in the Senior Bowl. So, maybe getting healthy until then. I mean, he wants to get as much, draft tape as possible so guys can draft him. But you're right. We might see a lot of Jonathan Brooks during this stretch. I want to see a lot of Keelan Robinson. I've been saying it all year long. Every time he touches the ball, it's golden. Happened again
And
last weekend too.
we have a touchdown, obviously. Like the guy's a touchdown every time he touches the football. It's just a football like once a game. Like
If he's not just winning a touchdown, he's blocking a punt.
But he's literally the do it all back. I'm Kansas. I don't have much faith in them getting it. I mean, they looked so bad on defense against us. Granted, it was Daniels' first game back. We'll see how he is with another week healthy. But like offensively, like Quinn went 12 of 21 with 100 yards, and I couldn't care less. Good, and we won. We put up 55. Like good. Yeah. Like that's how it should be done. I mean, the defense, like Blackwell, Thompson, Barron Sorrell is like such a stud, right? We never talk about Ford on the show. We never talk about Jalen Ford on the show. And honestly, like that's probably like the low spot of the season of a job that we've done, because Jalen Ford has been absolutely incredible this season.
He has. He's definitely one of the top linebackers in the Big 12.
Yeah, he's been awesome. He's like these picks, forced fumbles, lead the team in tackles. Like he literally is a do-it-all linebacker. And I would love to see. I'd love to see Brooks carry. I'd love to see Brooks and Bijan carry over, because I think that's really exciting for me, and like more comforting for me if there were to be a torch passed. And I want to see the defense continue to jump down opposing offenses' throats. Like outside of Iowa State, we're the top Big 12 defense. Mm-hmm. We are going up against a Baylor team who could run. They have three backs, which was exemplified in the TCU game, who could run the ball. Right? They have three guys, Reese, Jones, Williams. They could all three run the football pretty well, but their quarterback is nothing to write home about. And to me, he's thrown 9 picks. We don't really intercept guys a lot, so I'm not banking on it. I would love.
He might be one of their least talented quarterbacks you've seen in like 10 years.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would love to see a game, dude, where like the defense has, 3 sacks, 5 tackles for a loss. And I'd love to see like Watts get his hands on the ball and intercept one. I'd love to see JMO like really, electric in an electric way. Happy Thanksgiving. Here's the stuff, and like take one to the house. Like that would really make me stoked. Those are some of the points I'm looking for in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I always want to get into the backfield and create pressure and make the quarterback feel uncomfortable. That's literally one of the top points I have all season long, and it's progressively gotten better. I think last season we were literally asking for every single game, and we'd be lucky to get 1 sack. This season, with Barron Sorrell kind of leading that charge, of course, you got Alfred Collins, you've got Ford, you've got all those guys on the front 7 that can really create havoc. It's a lot more realistic. But I really want to see Quinn tune up, because you mentioned that he threw for just over 100 yards, 12 for 21 or whatever it was. Yes, we got it done, put up 55 points, but we're not going to rush for 400 yards every single game. You need to be able to throw the ball and spread the field and open it up. So there are holes for Bijan to run through whenever they're in, man coverage or whatever it may be. There needs to be some opening up of the field, and I really don't know what it is. Is Quinn still hurt? Is he just mentally have the yips right now? I mean, he's got super talented receivers out there and weapons. It's just like, trust your system, trust your players, and I don't know, make confident throws. It just doesn't look confident out there.
He just gets googly eyes for the long ball. Like, I mean, and if you think about it, like when you have a guy like Worthy who's, gassing the defense every play, like, and he's open, like it's tough to not take in his defense. It's tough not to take that shot.
Oh, of course. And the thing that I was thinking about as well is, while Arch Manning is not on campus yet, he's still breathing down Quinn's neck right now, because Quinn's looking at this season as competition's already started.
Should.
It already has. This is an evaluation period for Quinn if he's going to be the quarterback next year. So every single game that he plays, he's under the microscope. And I'm telling you, every game that he has that turns out like this, it's another step in the right direction for Arch Manning.
Arch Manning is coming in to be the king.
Yeah.
He like knows it. Like Quinn is coming in there on the mullet, the hype, and all that was great. It's not even in the same ballpark. Like it's almost like comparing like what's like a really good city, like a really fun, like I don't know, like Portland. Like Portland's dope, great time, like funky, cool. It's not New York City. This is it's
That's a little different because
it's a
look,
Manning.
it's a Manning. You're right, but we've talked about it. Before all this happened, Quinn and Vince Young and Arch Manning, were like the only guys to be perfect in the ratings, right? When it comes to recruiting ratings. So
Yeah,
Quinn is a guy. And
he is a
he's
guy.
number one out of his class. It's not like he's
Portland's a good
Portland.
city, dude. I'm not
He's
saying
not
Portland's a
Portland.
bad city.
He's not Portland.
Okay,
I,
maybe
I
he's
think
the
I think
SF.
it's more like it's like
SF.
New York City compared to Chicago, maybe. Like Chicago is like a pretty big city.
And you know what else it is? It's pretty overrated.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not Portland.
Yeah, Portland. I mean, I got caught up in the tattoos and mullet. Sorry, and the vibe. It was more of like a vibe pick. I think for Quinn though, like yeah, I'm down to see him get cooking. Like I'm down, but in a way that's like I was explaining this to someone yesterday at the gym. Like he just never allows himself because he has those googly eyes for the deep ball. He never allows himself to get in a good rhythm with his safety nets. There's no peppering of the running backs. There's no peppering of Jatavian Sanders. There's no peppering of Whittington. Like get it to those guys, get it to the flats, get it 6-7 yards out, like methodically beat these guys on offense like we call for every week.
Yeah.
Like I would rather it was the most, I will never forget the stat line of 4 or 15 to Worthy that one game he had. Like it was painful to watch him sail ball after sail, and then you get the yips. Once you miss 4 or 5 in a row, you're banking on you hitting the 5th or 6th, like that's a tough bargain. Like you've pretty much thrown yourself out of that mentality already. You got to get into a position where you're going at, and like Brady, like Tom Brady does it all the time. Like look at Brady's whole career, like Edelman, like, and he's like the pinnacle of it. But like Hogan, Amendola, he would hit it to like the quick routes, and that's why those guys had careers.
It's a lot of play calling, of course. And look at the most efficient team in the NFL, the Chiefs, right? Their offense and how they run their offense. It's a lot of yards after catch. It's a lot of Travis Kelce yards after catch. It's a lot of Jerick McKinnon and Pacheco and now Tony and Juju. Like all these guys, they let them get yards after catch, and that's because Mahomes flicks it for the out routes. The slants, the screens, like the shuffle passes. He could still open up the field as well on like the long ball and the medium routes, but with as many talented weapons as we have at Texas, we're underutilizing them. You've got Roshan, you've got Keelan, you've got Whittington, you've got Sanders and Billingsley now, Worthy. All those guys are super able to make moves in open space, create separation, quick, fast, like let them do what they can with the football in their hands.
Yeah. I mean, the Chiefs are a great example, like because they have the best quarterback.
Yeah, they have the best quarterback, but they're also still running. They're still running, RPOs and slants and screens, like
because he doesn't feel the pressure to make it all about him. Like I'm sure
exactly.
there's a pressure for Quinn of like because he is one of those guys like you're mentioning. There is the pressure of like, hey, it has to, it all rests in number 3's shoulders. When in actuality, it's like, dude, you're better off getting the ball out 4 yards and seeing what Bijan and Keelan can do in the flat. Or seeing what's, on a curl what Sanders can do, or or an outright what Whittington can do. Like you're better off testing that than trying to make the biggest, baddest play every time out. You don't have to do that.
Right. Yeah. No, I know what you mean, but there just needs some maturity that needs to happen. Maturing from both sides, from Quinn and I think from the coaching staff a little bit. Like just figuring out what works best for your scheme and what works best for your players. Sark was a guru at that at Alabama. right? Bringing the best out of players like Devontae Smith, guys like Jalen Waddle and Ruggs and like just utilizing those guys to the best of their potential. Sark needs to do that again, but I don't like the thing is now he's focused on the defense as well. He's got too many things to focus on. Like
Yeah, but the defense is not a problem. They brought in Gary. That's why you have like guys like
right.
Gary Patterson.
Exactly.
So he has like, and the defense has been good. Like for the first time in forever, the defense is like actually not the problem. The thing with Tech, what you think it is still?
No. It's not the problem. I think the defense has been great. I think Kyle Flood's gone next season.
Who?
Kyle Flood, the offensive coordinator of the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
I think that's what really happens. I think Kyle Flood's gone. You bring in someone new.
Kyle Flood. Sorry.
Yeah. Kyle Flood's gone. Bring in someone new that understands Sark's philosophy and his schemes. Sark needs to pass the offensive play calling duties to that person. And of course, he's got final say. He's got veto power, whatever it may be. And you let that happen. You let a young guy, right? It doesn't have to be a guy who's been in football for, 30, 40 years, right? Looking for a head coaching opportunity, right? This is like a bridge program or something. Like, get a guy in there like Joe Judge, right? Obviously, you can't get him, but get a guy like that.
Sure, like a guy looking for a second chance.
Yeah, exactly. Or even honestly, like if the Raiders fire Josh McDaniels next season, I know that people say like, okay, go be an assistant or an analyst at Bama. Bring him over to Texas.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, like it's probably gonna happen, or Hackett, right? Like one of these, one of those guys is gonna be jobless. I can promise you that. Probably Hackett. I also, the thing you bring up the Bama point, to me, the caveat to that point though would be in Bama, it's not like those guys came in and they were like, okay, you're the guy right away. Like Devonta, Waddle, and these other guys, like even Mac Jones, like they were like exactly waiting their turn. Where Quinn was like, okay, you're on campus, good, thank you, you're playing.
Well, we haven't really had the luxury of having just like guys that we can turn out quarterback after quarterback. I mean, we got lucky with Sam. He played here for 4 years. I mean, at Bama, what Tua was he 2 years or 3 years?
Tua was
like it was Jalen for a little bit, then it was Tua, then it was Mac. Like now it's Bryce. Like they've just been able to turn out guys left and right.
Oh my god, yeah. Like it had to have been 3 years.
Yeah, total. But with Texas, like ever since Colt McCoy, honestly, you had Gilbert, right? Then you had Case in there. You had David Ash rotating in and out of there. You had Tyrone Swoops, and you had Gerard Hurd. Then you had Shane Buechele. Finally, you get Sam Ehlinger, who gives us a guy who's like the guy for a little bit. And then last season, Casey, is it Hudson? Is it Casey? It's back to Hudson. Now it's Quinn. It's like there's not the definitive guy.
Yeah. We have a little comment, Nick, on the side from David Williams. He says Quinn Ewers requires development by Coach Sarkisian. Arch Manning will require even more development. Quinn played in high school football against the best competition in the United States. Not the case for Arch, who's playing over there in Louisiana. Look, he's right. And I think that kind of like is like a more of a through line and a good bow around our presence, in the sense that, like, a present of our commentary. I think Quinn, it was a lot to ask of him. The expectations were high in the sense of like, hey, you're the top dog, you played against this top competition. In our eyes, you were a top recruit. You sat a year at Ohio State. You should be good to go. Like, get in there, throw him into the fire. And when he wasn't pitch perfect, like, we were up in arms, like, this guy stinks, like, wrong guy, not the guy. We're so quick to be not the guy, rather than like giving him a breather to develop. Like, it's very apparent what he's missing. Now the key is like he's gonna get the first crack at it, unless he flops here in Baylor, then flops in the bowl game, and it's just it's like a tumbleweed. But he's gonna get the first crack at it, and at that point, it's like, what have you developed? Okay, you had year one, you got your sea legs, you got used to Austin, you got used to the pressure. You won the Red River game, which is great to get under your belt. You lost a couple of close ones that you threw us out of. How do you develop? right? How do you make that jump? And our it's not like, oh my God, we're lost at sea with this guy. Like, it's pretty clear cookie cut what we want him to do and get better at. And like you're saying, Nick, a lot of it's maturing. And like David's saying, he requires development, which he does.
Yeah. I mean, it's year one. It's technically year one for him. Look, I don't think we're fully out on it. Like, if Arch comes on campus next season, I honestly want him to sit out a year because he needs that maturing. But I'm just saying it's something to look at. And from what I want from this game in Baylor, because we always talk about what we want to see, hopefully this is a step in the right direction where if he has a good game or he tunes little things up here and there, it doesn't have to be perfect, but, can throw for, I don't know, 280 to 300, up until like past 300 and can complete, 60% of his passes, 2 touchdowns. That's not a crazy game on the stat sheet. I mean, it's a good game, but that's like something that really can kind of build your confidence. I mean, look, Caleb Williams probably going to win the Heisman now. Not asking for you to throw over 400 yards and, to lead your team to a crazy victory, but I want you to be efficient.
100%. Like, and not look, USC is tops in the nation in turnover margin. Tops.
Yeah.
Like, and not that Quinn turns the ball over an exorbitant amount. Like, his inefficiency, his completion percentage is just so pitiful at times that's the kicker. Mm-hmm. Just methodically beat down the defense. You don't need the fact that everyone in college football thinks you need to win 55 to 14 every week is crazy. Like, a win is a win. Like, the New England Patriots won 10-3 again. Like, the Ravens. We'll go to the Ravens, who forget the Patriots, have higher expectations in the NFL from an offensive standpoint. They won 13-3 against the Thurs. Like, like,
that's
and
not
it's still what?
It's not their nickname.
Why?
Whatever.
It's just like, they went 13. They won 13-3 against the Thurs, and like that's
the Panthers.
1-0. The Panthers. That's still a 1-0 game. So it doesn't matter. Like, you have to just get in there and win. Yep. But we want it to be as sexy as possible. All right, really quickly from a betting standpoint, the public is pretty much
by betonline.ag.
Thank you.
betonline.ag to get your free welcome bonus by using the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV.
Believe. Okay. It's pretty much split down the middle. Both teams are 7-4 against the spread. So all that.
Cool.
8.5 favor of the home team Horns. Over under 56. Game time weather in Austin. Do you want to take a guess what it's going to be?
37.
No, that's crazy talk.
52.
55. And it's going to rain.
Ooh. I'm going to take the under here.
Okay. Talk to me spread.
What's the spread at right now? 8.5?
8.5.
Whew, that is a tough one. Ah, man. We beat the brakes off of Kansas. I'm gonna take, I think Baylor plus 8.5 is a good bet. I really do. They're not a bad team. They put a close one against TCU.
It's a Big 12 game.
And they circle this game just as much as we circle them, even more so. They're going to bring everything they can. Because I think if they beat us and Kansas State loses to Kansas, don't they get in as well? Baylor? To the Big 12 championship?
Oh, wait, what's the route for Baylor to get in? You know what? I'm so sorry. I was ill prepared for that one because they beat Oklahoma State. Mm-hmm. Right? Or am I trippy wizard?
I think you might be right.
Okay, hold on.
Checking the Big 12 standings.
We're checking okay, so Baylor and Oklahoma State is ahead of Baylor at Sean, but they both have a 4-4 record.
So Oklahoma State would also have to lose this week too.
Yes, no. I mean, it's Oklahoma State that's ahead of them. So if Oklahoma, which won't happen, I don't think Oklahoma State let's say, I mean, yeah, if we lose to Baylor, Baylor could play spoiler for us at least. I mean, that's like a kicker. Like then Oklahoma State goes in, or Kansas State still goes in.
Yeah,
Sorry.
they need a lot more help. Regardless, I think Baylor comes to play. I think we win the game still, but 8.5 will not be covered by the Horns.
No. Okay. I could get behind that. Look, a win's a win, like we're saying.
Yep.
All right. Josh Fisher, DJ, Nikki, Snacks, Kreider, Horns Up, Talkin Texas podcast. Get your horns up. We'll see you next time. Get a win. Go check out our other show with Cameron Dicker.